10 days in Ghana, taking some of the same steps as our ancestors did, while facing some of our biggest fears and capturing some unbelievable moments. But something just didn't feel right. Having this dope experience without my son, but we're gonna make the most out of it, right? Reflecting on all this, I gotta say, it's really dope where your creativity can take you.
Have y'all done this before?
No, this is our first time.
The VIP Delta experience that we got traveling to Ghana was really dope. To be able to experience that for the first time with my wife was extremely memorable. Something that we'll never forget, honestly.
Okay, so first off, we went from Porsche to plane, okay? Porsche to plane. From going from a Porsche to a plane, skipping the line, I feel like it was made for me. That's honestly how I feel like. I feel like it was made for me.
It's one of the greatest parts about this job is the amount of exposure that I've been given, whether it's been flying on private jets, whether it's been taking this VIP experience, being able to ride in and drive Lamborghinis and Bentleys. It really pushes your exposure and your belief system and your faith to another level, to not only see it on Instagram, see it and know that it exists, but to be able to experience it for yourself firsthand.
A flight time will be 9 hours and 41 minutes.
One of the dopest aspects of this experience is that through my skill set, I was able to take my wife to Africa. I know it's been something that's on her bucket list. So to be able to check that off for her through my hard work and through a skill set that I developed, it really means a lot to me. You know, memories mean a lot to my wife. And so for me to be able to create those memories, core memories as she would call them, from my creative skill set, I just think that's really dope.
It gives me chills just thinking about like how when you steward your gifts well, the things that God can do with that if you just steward them.
Back to America, learning more about our culture, about our history, God. So we just thank you for this opportunity, God.
I was able to capture some unforgettable moments while over in Ghana. It really still blows my mind that I was able to take a skill set and develop it over time and be good enough that it allowed me to go out of the country with it, right? Been able to work in sports for a long time before getting into this industry. I was always loved like capturing the moments on the sideline, capturing the moments of fans. But honestly, like while those are moments in history, it's not my history. So to be able to go take photos of areas where my ancestors walked, learn more about the history of my people's enslavement, and understand like the story of how we got to that point, and capture the emotions of people as we were learning about that history is something that I didn't have on my bucket list to check off, but I'm extremely glad that my creative skill set allowed me the opportunity to do that and took me to Africa.
All right, Ace, you ready to see one of your first presents?
Yeah, okay.
From Mama Daddy Ace from Africa.
I think the biggest part that was missing on the trip was just having my son there. I'm excited for him to go with us the next time that we visit Africa, but honestly, this was the first time that we had been away from him for that amount of time. 10 days is a long time to be away from somebody, especially when you've never been away from them that long. So for us, I'm super thankful for technology. Thankful that we have FaceTime and ways to communicate. It was hard at first, to be honest, but eventually once I started to see that he was okay, I was okay. But what I'm most thankful for that we didn't bring him was that it helped me and my wife turn a new leaf, like spark a new flame, enjoy each other and date each other on this trip. We really found ourselves like kind of sneaking off and getting our own table, separating from the group a bit when we could, just to be able to intentionally date on this trip because we didn't have any responsibilities as a parent. That was being taken care of back at home. So it was really amazing to be able to get this experience because we really hadn't had any intentional dating or vacation since he's been here. So that was amazing. but we still definitely missed our son and hadn't been away from him that long. But I'm glad that he was taken care of well. Thank you, Mom. And he was super excited when we came back home to see him. Another aspect of my trip that I realized and want to acknowledge is that I took some time for me. I think taking time for yourself is super important, and prioritizing you is super important as a creative. I think we work hard for other people and we're service minded and service hearted to begin with. So something that was super important to me was continuing my health journey and working out while I was in Ghana. Even though we burned a lot of calories, it was super humid while we were over there. I think it was super important on my off days to still work out, to still hit the gym, to still get my steps in, to be consistent on my journey while I was there. Another important aspect for me was prioritizing time for me to just get away, even get away from my wife, just take a break where I wasn't working. And I used that time to play the game. The game is a great escape for me, no pun intended, but my PlayStation Portal gave me a great escape for me to be able to portal back to my PlayStation 5 here in America and still play games like College Football 25 abroad, which was super dope to be 5,000 miles away from home and still be able to play a game that I love and escape for 45 minutes to an hour a day. It was super dope.
Love it, love it, love it.
So on this trip, there was a point where I really had to face my fears. Actually a couple times, about being honest, because initially before going on this trip, I was honestly pretty fearful about going to Africa just because I was stepping into something that I considered to be an unknown. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what to expect. So that was facing a fear in itself. But once we got there, there was an experience. So we had to walk across this canopy. And being a tall person, I really don't like heights that much. I mean, I could do airplanes. Roller coaster is not my favorite, but definitely not if I gotta walk like across a tightrope or a net to get to the other side. It's not my favorite activity, but I did it. And there was a moment where I crossed first, and then my wife came across and she was scared to go across again. And it forced me to kind of step up as a man and like show her like it's okay to go across this next one, so I'm gonna do it first. And I did it, and she came across and she hugged me, and I felt like in that moment it was like the first time I was like, I wouldn't die for you, girl. But that was really dope because it was a moment where I had to face my fears for my family, and it really reminded me on this trip that you really, there are moments you gotta step up, man. You gotta leverage your creativity to face some fears, and that fear is the opposite of faith. So if you're a believer and you're watching this, you can't choose fear. Like if there's something that God is calling you to do and you've been still because you don't know what to do, you've been paralyzed, I would just challenge you to choose faith over fear, because in those moments, like, you'll be excited that you did on the other side. So don't sleep on your creativity. You never know where it will take you, because with this trip I learned so much. I was able to see people that were willing, like George, one of my favorite people on the trip, like work so hard, man. They work so hard for what they have in that country, and it really inspired me to take things to the next level. And what I realized about myself is that there was a lot of fear in what I was doing before that plane took off to go to Ghana, right? So coming back, the mission is not to sleep on myself, put faith over fear, and watch what God has for me in these next phases of my life. So if you like this video, I encourage you to subscribe and to log in, because we're going to be doing this a lot. I'm going to drop one of these videos at least every month, document my journey through this next phase of life. So if you want to tap in, make sure you hit the like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.